Now, what's far more serious to our future than Peter Dutton buying bank shares 16 years ago is whether we have cheaper power and enough of it. And the answer to that just gets worse and worse. The latest bad news is that this Albanese government is delaying making a decision on letting the gas giant Woodside extend its operations at sea off northwest Western Australia. Now, Woodside has worked for 6 years so far to get approvals for an extension, more years to come of exploiting this very same site. No wonder gas companies, by the way, are warning that Australia is becoming a no-go zone for investors. 6 years. Now, Western Australia's Labor government has finally said, oh, fine, okay, go ahead. But Tanya Plibersek, the Albanese government's environment minister, said, wait. This project could somehow damage rock art that's onshore at the Burrup Peninsula. Some of maybe 1 million or more examples of this art that's not far from a Woodside gas plant there. Now, the head of Woodside said today she could not believe there were now more hold-ups.
It's taken 6 years already. Now, it took the state government 6 years to go through all the appeals process, but it really is hard to understand why the Commonwealth Department of Environment needs more time, since they've had the same information for that whole 6 years.
Now, if this rock art is so important and truly is being damaged by Woodside, which it denies, here's the solution. Why not pick up a lot of the best examples, put them in a museum where lots of people can see it, and keep it out of the weather, which I'm sure is probably the real villain in this piece, if anything. Anyway, the Greens and Teal independent MPs like Kate Chaney, they're actually dead against the Woodside extension. They're climate extremists. And Minister Plibersek is now saying, well, I can't decide on this until after the election, which is very convenient, isn't it? It dodges a fight and it leaves this as something Labor can trade after the election for the Teal support to make it support the government in a hung parliament. Nonsense, the Prime Minister said today.
Prime Minister, why has the government delayed a decision on the Woodside Run Northwest Shelf gas project? Are you just playing politics?
No.
That could be demand, though, of Kate Chaney in a minority government. What are you going to do there?
Well, these matters are before the Environment Minister. The Environment Minister responds in accordance with the law.
Look, if holding up a project for 6 years already and now more to come, if that's the law is an ass. Joining me every Tuesday is National Senator Matt Canavan, the former Resources Minister. Matt Canavan, thanks for your time. Is that rock art in any real danger from this Woodside project?
No, it's not, Andrew. I've been there to the Burrup Peninsula and seen the rock art. It's beautiful, pristine. It's in a great shape. The Karratha gas plant there, it's part of the Northwest Shelf project, has been operating for over 40 years now, and there's absolutely no evidence that it has in any way damaged that artwork. As you've said, we should seek to protect that, do what we can. I don't think we necessarily need to move it. It's as I say, in good shape there, and it attracts a lot of tourists. And if we don't proceed with this project, keep in mind that it's not just about stopping a new project and new wealth being created. This could completely close the Karratha gas plant long term, because if we do not get new gas supplies, if we do not get this extension, then 1,000 people will be out of a job. And some of the worst victims of that, any decision like that, would be the Aboriginal people, especially young Aboriginal people of the Burrup Peninsula. They'll be impacted more than any, because many of them I know and I've met a number of times and have been up there, work in this wonderful industry. We're one of the world's largest gas exporters. We used to be the largest LNG exporter, but the US has overtaken us because they haven't got as many stupid green climate policies as we do. But yet, if this plant doesn't proceed, that'll be a fifth of our gas exports taken off the table. It's our third biggest export now. And even more than that too, it goes beyond just gas. There's a new urea plant being built on the Burrup Peninsula right now. We don't make urea anymore. It's the most important fertiliser for food production. About half our food is made with that fertiliser. We don't make any of it in Australia now. We used to in Brisbane. But again, stupid green policies mean we import it all. And if we don't get the extension going for the Northwest Shelf project, that urea plant won't be able to go ahead. It needs the gas from this project to make this fertiliser, to grow food. And so any government worth its salt right now that wants to grow our country, wants to protect our food security, wants to provide good jobs and economic futures for young Aboriginal people would be rushing over themselves to support and approve this project. Yet we've held it up for 6 years now. Kids go through primary school in a quicker time frame than we take just to do a bit of paperwork. And maybe we do need that Musk approach here. All of these bureaucrats presiding over this approval should be asked, what have you done the last week? Give us the 5 dot points, because 6 years
not just the bureaucrats.
Of that should be over 300 weeks. What have they done over 300 weeks to get this done?
Look, you can blame the bureaucrats, but overseeing this all are the politicians who pass all these laws, set up all these hoops, and then delay and delay and delay. What's really going on here?
Well, that is true. It is a lack of political will. There's no doubt about that. If a minister wanted this decision to come to his or her desk here in Tanya Plibersek's case, that would happen. There's no doubt that would happen. And there's no justification for this at all. It's an embarrassment for our country. And even if we are to sign off on this extension, of course, the problem is the message that this sends to the world is a terrible one, especially at the time when you have a rejuvenated US administration, which is sending a message to the world of drill, baby, drill. The capital that would otherwise have come here to create jobs is clearly going overseas. Santos has said that. Other oil and gas companies have said that it's a lot easier to do business in the United States. And so they'll go there. BlueScope said that the other week, not just in gas. Steel, one of our 2 last steel makers says the same. So we are playing with fire here in our country if we don't get into shape soon, because we've had some good times. We've had a pretty good economic time, but I really worry we're going into rougher waters here. And if we continue to muck around with these stupid green policies that no one else is doing anymore, we'll just make Australians poorer. And whenever we wake up to ourselves, it might just be a bit too late.
I just think the art is just part of a greater scam that's being played. We've seen Aboriginal heritage used as an excuse by Greens to block other gas projects as well. Notoriously, one north of the Timor Islands, you might recall that the Environmental Defenders Office was called out peddling porkies on that one. Labor's attacks on Peter Dutton today, that he bought bank shares the day before the Rudd Labor government bailed out the banks. The Prime Minister today said, well, Dutton has questions to answer, presumably whether he had a tip, insider knowledge. Your response?
Well, Peter Dutton declared this as appropriate 16 years ago. He's been a minister in 3 different governments over that period. He was an aspirant to be the leader or be the Prime Minister at the time. With the leadership change, the Liberal Party, and of course he's been opposition leader now for a number of years. And to me, if the Labor Party had a real issue with this, they would have raised that at some point during that period. Just happens to be only weeks out from an election, so I think the timing says it all. I don't think Peter's got anything to worry about here.
And he's of course denied it as well. The Labor Party's given no evidence to back up its suggestion, which it doesn't dare repeat outside Parliament. I think it's just so desperate. They've actually got think of this, Matt, they've actually got teams of people going through things like this, his personal records, hoping to do a gotcha on him 16 years after the event, instead of giving us maybe better policies, better governance. That's what they're busy with.
Maybe reassign those people. Maybe reassign those people to get the North West Shelf project approved. Sack the dirt unit, start the jobs unit, get that going.
Bang. Good on you, mate. Well done. And we're back to the start. Thank you so much, Matt Canavan.